The Vatican, a name that evokes grandeur, holiness, and history. It's the heart of the Catholic Church, a sovereign city-state smaller than a square mile, yet its spiritual and historical weight spans millennia. Within its marble halls and shadowed archives lie some of the most sacred treasures known to man. But also, secrets. Not just the kind written in ink and parchment, but the kind whispered in corridors, hidden beneath altars, buried in vaults, or shrouded in mystery. Some are misunderstood. Others, never spoken of aloud. In this video, we journey through 15 creepy things hidden in the Vatican. These aren't just tales for curiosity, they're pieces of a larger puzzle. Stories that help us understand not just the Church's triumphs, but also the silence that shaped her. We share these not to dishonor, but to explore, to hold reverence and reason in the same breath. And trust me, stay until the end. That final entry might just shake your understanding of what lies beneath the Holy See. 1. The Nazi connection, Pope Pius XII's secret allegiance. Pope Pius XII, born Eugenio Pacelli, has long been a figure of intense debate regarding his role during World War II. Critics have dubbed him Hitler's Pope, suggesting that his silence and diplomatic neutrality amounted to complicity with the Nazi regime. Recent revelations from the Vatican archives have intensified this scrutiny. In 2023, newly uncovered correspondence revealed that Pope Pius XII received detailed reports about the mass extermination of Jews and Poles in Nazi-occupied Poland. A letter from German Jesuit Father Lothar Koenig informed the Pope that up to 6,000 individuals were being gassed daily. This challenges the long-held defense that the Vatican lacked concrete information to publicly denounce the atrocities. Supporters argue that Pope Pius XII worked behind the scenes to save lives, fearing that open condemnation would provoke harsher Nazi reprisals. Indeed, the Vatican facilitated the rescue of thousands of Jews through clandestine efforts. However, the Pope's public silence during the Holocaust remains a contentious issue, raising questions about moral responsibility and the balance between diplomacy and prophetic witness. en.wikipedia.org. As historians continue to examine these newly available documents, the legacy of Pope Pius XII stands at a crossroads, inviting reflection on the complexities of leadership during one of history's darkest chapters. 2. Did Jesus survive the crucifixion? Among the most provocative theories challenging Christian orthodoxy is the claim that Jesus did not die on the cross. This notion, known as the swoon hypothesis, suggests that Jesus merely lost consciousness during the crucifixion and later revived in the tomb. Proponents argue that this perspective is supported by certain apocryphal texts and alternative gospels. One such text is the Gospel of Barnabas, which narrates that Judas Iscariot was crucified in Jesus' place, while Jesus was taken up to heaven alive. This account aligns with Islamic teachings found in the Quran, which state that Jesus was not crucified but rather it appeared so to the people. Another controversial work is the Jesus Papers by Michael Bygent, which claims that ancient documents exist suggesting Jesus survived the crucifixion and lived beyond it. Bygent alleges that these documents are concealed within the Vatican's secret archives. The Vatican's Apostolic Archive, formerly known as the Secret Archive, is rumored to house countless documents, some of which may contain alternative narratives about Jesus' life and death. However, access to these archives is highly restricted, fueling speculation about their contents. Mainstream scholarship and the Catholic Church uphold the belief that Jesus died on the cross and was resurrected, a cornerstone of Christian faith. The swoon hypothesis and related theories are widely regarded as speculative and lacking credible historical evidence. While these theories captivate the imagination and provoke discussion, they remain outside the bounds of accepted Christian doctrine. Nevertheless, they underscore the enduring fascination with the mystery surrounding Jesus' life and the secrets that may lie hidden within the Vatican's walls. 3. The Essene Gospel of Peace, a suppressed message. In 1928, Hungarian scholar Edmund Bordeaux-Székely published a translation of a manuscript he claimed to have discovered in the Vatican's secret archives, the Essene Gospel of Peace. This text portrays Jesus as a proponent of vegetarianism, natural healing, and communion with the elements, emphasizing harmony with nature as a path to spiritual enlightenment. Such teachings starkly contrast with traditional Christian doctrines, suggesting a version of Christ's message centered on ecological balance and personal health. Sechelli asserted that he found the original Aramaic texts in the Vatican and at the Benedictine monastery of Monte Cassino. However, the Vatican has denied that these manuscripts exist or that Sechelli was granted access to their archives in 1923. Critics argue that the Essene Gospel of Peace is a modern fabrication, noting the absence of the original documents and the lack of corroboration from other historical sources. Sechelli's background as a proponent of natural living and his establishment of health retreats further fuel skepticism about the text's authenticity. Despite these controversies, the Essene Gospel of Peace has garnered interest among those seeking alternative spiritual perspectives. Its emphasis on environmental stewardship and holistic well-being resonates with contemporary movements that integrate spirituality with ecological consciousness. While mainstream Christianity does not recognize this gospel as canonical, its existence prompts reflection on the diverse interpretations of Jesus' teachings and the potential suppression of non-traditional narratives within religious institutions. Whether viewed as a genuine ancient text or a modern creation, the Essene Gospel of Peace challenges readers to consider the multifaceted dimensions of spiritual practice and the historical processes that determine which teachings are preserved or marginalized. 4. The world's largest porn collection. Among the more sensational rumors surrounding the Vatican is the claim that it houses the world's largest collection of pornography. This assertion, often cited by conspiracy theorists, suggests that the Vatican's secret archives contain vast amounts of erotic art and literature, ostensibly preserved for research purposes. While the Vatican does possess historical artworks with erotic elements, such as the 16th-century frescoes by Giulio Romano, known as I Modi or the 16 Pleasures, which depicted explicit scenes and were later banned by the Church, the notion of an extensive pornographic collection lacks credible evidence. In fact, investigations into the Vatican's archives have found only a few mildly erotic items, primarily from the Renaissance period, and no substantial collection of pornography. The Church's historical practice of maintaining the Index Librorum Prohibitorum, a list of prohibited books that included works deemed immoral or heretical, may have contributed to these rumors. However, the existence of such a list does not imply that the Vatican actively collected or preserved pornographic materials. In recent years, the Vatican has taken explicit stances against pornography. In 2024, Pope Francis emphasized that while sexual pleasure is a gift from God, pornography undermines it and can lead to addiction, urging Catholics to avoid it. Therefore, while the Vatican's archives contain a wealth of historical documents and artworks, the claim that it holds the world's largest porn collection is unfounded and lacks substantiation. 5. The Chronovisor, the Vatican's time machine. In the annals of Vatican mysteries, few tales are as enthralling as that of the Chronovisor, a device purportedly capable of viewing past events. The story begins with Father Pellegrino Onetti, a Benedictine monk and physicist, who in the 1960s claimed to have co-developed this extraordinary machine. According to Onetti, the Chronovisor could reconstruct electromagnetic waves and sound frequencies from the past, rendering them into visual and auditory experiences. He alleged that the device allowed users to witness historical events, such as the crucifixion of Jesus and speeches by ancient Roman figures. Onetti's claims were bolstered by a photograph he presented, purportedly depicting Christ on the cross. However, skeptics quickly identified the image as a reverse photograph of a statue housed in the Sanctuary of Merciful Love in Colle Valenza, Italy. Further doubts arose when Onetti produced a version of the lost play Thyest Est by Quintus Ennius, which scholars later deemed a modern forgery due to linguistic inconsistencies. Despite these controversies, the legend of the Chronovisor endures. Some believe that the Vatican concealed the device to prevent potential misuse, while others view it as a modern myth born from a blend of faith and fascination with time travel. The Vatican has never officially acknowledged the existence of the Chronovisor, leaving the truth shrouded in mystery. Whether a suppressed invention or a captivating hoax, the Chronovisor story invites reflection on the intersection of science, faith, and the enduring human desire to witness history firsthand. 6. The Vatican's secret spy network, the Entity. For centuries, the Vatican has been enveloped in an aura of sanctity and spiritual authority. Yet, beneath this sacred veneer lies a lesser-known facet of its history, a clandestine intelligence apparatus known as the Entity. Established in the 16th century, this secret service, also referred to as the Holy Alliance, has operated in the shadows, gathering intelligence to protect the Church's interests and influence global affairs. During the Cold War, the entity intensified its activities, aligning with Western intelligence agencies to counter the spread of communism. One notable figure was Monsignor Luigi Poggi, dubbed the Pope's spy, who played a pivotal role in espionage efforts against the Eastern Bloc. Poggi's missions included clandestine operations in Poland, where he supported the Solidarity movement, contributing to the eventual decline of communist influence in the region. The Vatican's intelligence endeavors extended beyond Europe. Reports suggest involvement in various geopolitical events, including the facilitation of escape routes for war criminals post-World War II and covert financial operations. These activities underscore the Vatican's commitment to preserving its doctrinal authority and political influence, often through secretive means. While the full extent of the entity's operations remain shrouded in mystery, its existence challenges perceptions of the Vatican solely as a spiritual institution. The intertwining of faith and espionage within the Holy See reveals a complex narrative where divine mission and worldly strategy converge. 7. The disappearance of Emanuela Orlandi. On June 22, 1983, Emanuela Orlandi, a 15-year-old Vatican citizen, vanished after attending a music lesson in Rome. As the daughter of a Vatican employee, her disappearance quickly became one of Italy's most perplexing and enduring mysteries. Over the decades, numerous theories have emerged. Some suggest she was kidnapped by a criminal gang to pressure the Vatican into repaying debts or to secure the release of Mehmet Ali Arca, the man who attempted to assassinate Pope John Paul II. Others propose more sinister motives, alleging involvement in human trafficking or cover-ups of misconduct within the Church. In 2023, the Vatican reopened its investigation into the case, with Pope Francis granting prosecutors maximum freedom of action to pursue the truth. This move followed renewed public interest spurred by the Netflix documentary Vatican Girl, which brought international attention to the case and highlighted potential new leads. The mystery of Emanuela Orlandi's disappearance continues to captivate and haunt, symbolizing the complexities and secrets that can lie hidden within even the most sacred institutions. 8. Dark ceremonies, satanic rituals within the Vatican. In 1999, a book titled Gone with the Wind in the Vatican sent shockwaves through the Catholic community. Authored under the pseudonym I Millenari, later revealed to include Monsignor Luigi Marinelli, the book alleges various forms of corruption within the Vatican, including claims of occult rituals and satanic masses conducted by clergy members. One particularly disturbing account describes a bishop being blackmailed by an illegitimate daughter, highlighting the depth of alleged misconduct. While the Vatican dismissed the book as scandalmongering, its detailed narratives captivated readers and fueled debates about the extent of secrecy within the Church. The book's rapid sales and the Vatican's strong reaction only intensified public interest. Adding to the intrigue, the 1996 novel Windswept House by former Jesuit priest Malachi Martin portrays a fictional satanic ritual, dubbed the enthronement of Lucifer, allegedly taking place within the Vatican. Though presented as fiction, Martin claimed the events were based on real occurrences, further blurring the lines between fact and fiction. These accounts, whether factual or fictional, have contributed to a narrative that challenges perceptions of the Vatican as solely a bastion of spiritual guidance. They raise questions about the potential for hidden practices and the extent to which secrecy may shield misconduct. While concrete evidence remains elusive, the persistence of such stories underscores the importance of transparency and accountability within institutions of immense influence. 9. Vatican exorcists, real or theatrical. In an era dominated by science and skepticism, the Vatican's unwavering commitment to exorcism is both fascinating and controversial. Each year, the Vatican hosts an intensive exorcism course, drawing approximately 250 clergy from over 50 countries. This week-long program delves into the intricacies of demonic possession, the rite of exorcism, and the discernment between spiritual affliction and mental illness. Notably, the curriculum has expanded to include clergy from various Christian denominations, reflecting a broader concern about spiritual warfare in the modern world. The demand for exorcists has surged in recent years, with reports indicating that priests in Italy alone receive hundreds of thousands of requests annually. This uptick is attributed to a combination of factors, including a decline in traditional religious practices and a rise in occult activities. Friar Benigno Palilla, a noted exorcist, emphasizes the Church's responsibility to address these spiritual crises, underscoring the importance of proper training and discernment. Father Gabriele Amorth, the late chief exorcist of Rome, claimed to have performed tens of thousands of exorcisms during his lifetime. He asserted that the devil's influence could infiltrate even the highest echelons of the Church, warning of the constant spiritual battles faced by the faithful. While some view these practices as archaic or symbolic, the Vatican maintains that exorcism is a vital ministry, addressing genuine cases of demonic possession. The Church's rigorous protocols ensure that each case is thoroughly evaluated, often involving medical professionals to rule out psychological conditions. This meticulous approach reflects the Church's commitment to both spiritual and mental well-being. In a world increasingly skeptical of the supernatural, the Vatican's dedication to exorcism serves as a testament to its belief in the ongoing battle between good and evil. Whether viewed as literal confrontations with demonic forces or profound psychological interventions, these rituals continue to captivate and challenge our understanding of faith and the unseen. 10. The Apostolic Archive. What are they hiding? Beneath the hallowed halls of the Vatican lies a repository shrouded in mystery, the Vatican Apostolic Archive, formerly known as the Secret Archive. Spanning over 85 kilometers, approximately 53 miles of shelving, this vast collection houses documents dating back to the 8th century, encompassing papal correspondence, state papers, and records of significant historical events. Among its treasures are letters from monarchs, emperors, and renowned figures like Michelangelo, who once complained about unpaid work on the Sistine Chapel. Notably, the archive contains the 1530 petition from English nobles urging Pope Clement VII to annul King Henry VIII's marriage, a request that, when denied, led to England's break from the Catholic Church. Access to this archive is highly restricted. Only qualified scholars with specific research purposes are granted entry, and even then, materials post-dating 1939 were inaccessible until Pope Francis authorized the opening of documents from Pope Pius XII's pontificate in 2020. The secrecy surrounding the archive has fueled speculation. What truths lie within? Are there documents that could challenge established narratives or reveal uncomfortable aspects of Church history? While the Church maintains that the archive's contents are preserved for scholarly research and historical integrity, the limited access continues to intrigue and mystify both believers and historians alike. 11. Financial scandals. Where does the money go? The Vatican, a symbol of spiritual authority, has faced numerous financial controversies over the years. One of the most notable is the London property investment scandal, where approximately $200 million from the Peter's Pence Fund, intended for charitable works, was used to purchase a luxury apartment complex in London. This transaction led to significant losses and the conviction of Cardinal Angelo Becciu for embezzlement and fraud. The Institute for the Works of Religion, IOR, commonly known as the Vatican Bank, has also been embroiled in scandals. In the 1980s, the collapse of Banco Ambrosiano, with which the Vatican Bank had close ties, resulted in significant financial losses and raised questions about the bank's dealings. More recently, in 2021, former IOR President Angelo Caloia was sentenced to prison for embezzling millions through fraudulent real estate transactions. Efforts have been made to reform the Vatican's financial systems. Pope Francis initiated measures to increase transparency, including appointing external auditors and implementing stricter regulations. However, challenges persist, such as a significant pension fund shortfall and declining donations, indicating ongoing financial instability. These financial scandals highlight the tension between the Vatican's spiritual mission and the complexities of managing its vast assets. They underscore the need for continued vigilance and reform to ensure that the Church's resources are used in alignment with its core values. 12. Leaks. When the truth leaked out. In 2012, the Vatican was rocked by an unprecedented scandal known as Leaks. At the center was Paolo Gabriele, Pope Benedict XVI's personal butler, who leaked hundreds of confidential documents to Italian journalist Gianluigi Nuzzi. These documents, later published in the book His Holiness, The Secret Papers of Benedict XVI, unveiled a Vatican plagued by internal power struggles, corruption, and financial mismanagement. The leaked letters included correspondence from Archbishop Carlo Maria Vigano, who highlighted corruption leading to inflated contract prices within the Holy See. Other documents revealed bribes paid for papal audiences and warnings of death threats against the Pope. Gabriel was arrested in May 2012 after Vatican police discovered the documents in his apartment. He claimed his actions were driven by a desire to expose evil and corruption within the Church. In October 2012, he was convicted of aggravated theft and sentenced to 18 months in a Vatican detention facility. Pope Benedict XVI pardoned him later that year. The scandal not only exposed deep-seated issues within the Vatican but also raised questions about transparency and accountability in one of the world's most secretive institutions. It remains a significant event in the Church's modern history. 13. Pope John Paul I, Murder or Mystery. On September 28, 1978, Pope John Paul I passed away unexpectedly, just 33 days into his papacy. Officially, the Vatican attributed his death to a heart attack, but the absence of an autopsy and inconsistencies in the details surrounding his death have fueled numerous conspiracy theories. Some speculate that he was murdered due to his plans to reform the Vatican Bank and address corruption within the Church. Others suggest that his death was a result of natural causes, citing his previous health issues. The true circumstances of his death remain a subject of debate and intrigue. 14. Hidden relics, locked away for a reason. The Vatican is home to an array of sacred relics, including the skull of Saint Catherine of Siena and fragments of the True Cross. However, many of these items remain concealed, raising questions about their accessibility and the reasons behind their seclusion. The Church's guidelines stipulate that only relics with verified authenticity, certified by ecclesiastical authorities, may be publicly venerated. This ensures that relics are preserved with the utmost respect and prevents the proliferation of counterfeit items. Consequently, many significant relics are stored in sealed urns and displayed only in secure, authorized locations to maintain their sanctity and prevent misuse. Beyond concerns of authenticity, some relics are kept hidden due to their controversial nature. For instance, pieces of the True Cross, believed to be fragments of the crucifixion cross of Jesus, have been the subject of disputes regarding their authenticity and ownership. The proliferation of such relics has led to skepticism and calls for greater scrutiny. In essence, the Vatican's practice of concealing certain relics stems from a combination of doctrinal integrity, historical preservation, and the need to safeguard the faithful from potential exploitation. While this approach may seem secretive, it underscores the Church's commitment to maintaining the sanctity and authenticity of its sacred treasures. 15. Suppressed science, what don't they want us to know? The Vatican's vast archives, spanning over 85 kilometers of shelving, are home to centuries of documents, some of which have been the subject of controversy and speculation. Among the myriad of documents, there are claims that certain scientific discoveries and manuscripts, particularly those that challenge established religious narratives, have been suppressed or hidden. These theories suggest that the Church may have intentionally concealed knowledge that could contradict traditional interpretations of Scripture. For instance, during the 16th and 17th centuries, figures like Galileo Galilei faced opposition from the Church due to their support of heliocentrism, which contradicted the geocentric model endorsed by the Church at the time. Galileo's works were placed on the Index of Prohibited Books, and he was tried by the Roman Catholic Inquisition. It wasn't until 1992 that Pope John Paul II acknowledged the Church's error in condemning Galileo, highlighting the complex relationship between science and the Church. In more recent times, the opening of the Vatican's archives has led to revelations about the Church's stance on various scientific matters. For example, Pope John Paul II's 1996 address to the Pontifical Academy of Sciences acknowledged the validity of evolutionary theory concerning the human body, while maintaining that the human soul is a direct creation of God. Despite these acknowledgements, some critics argue that the Church has been selective in its engagement with scientific discoveries, sometimes suppressing information that could challenge traditional doctrines. The reasons behind such actions are complex, involving a combination of theological considerations, historical context, and institutional interests. While the Vatican has made strides toward transparency, the full extent of its historical interactions with science remains a topic of ongoing research and debate. The balance between faith and reason continues to be a delicate issue, with the Church navigating its role in a world where scientific understanding constantly evolves. The Vatican remains one of the most revered yet mysterious places on earth, a seat of truth, yet shrouded in layers of secrecy. As faithful believers, we are called not to fear the unknown but to understand it through prayer, reflection, and reverent inquiry. If these stories leave you questioning, remember, the search for truth is not blasphemy, it is devotion in motion. Subscribe and join us as we continue to explore history, faith, and mystery, one story at a time.